What if the one person Beth Dutton finally begins to trust becomes the reason everything falls apart? After the shocking developments of Episode 5, tensions at the ranch have reached a breaking point, and Episode 6 could push Beth into the most dangerous emotional battle of her life. The biggest twist. This time, the threat may not come from an outside enemy, it may come from someone standing right beside her. In Episode 5, Beth appeared more focused than ever, trying to balance survival, loyalty, and strategy while navigating the dangerous politics surrounding the ranch. But fans quickly noticed something unusual. Beth, who normally trusts nobody, seemed to lower her guard ever so slightly. And in the Dutton universe, lowering your guard almost always comes with consequences. Now, according to growing fan theories and story clues, episode May 6 reveal a betrayal that Beth never expected. Someone close to her could be hiding information, making secret deals, or even working toward an agenda that directly threatens everything Beth and Rip are trying to build in Texas. The biggest question is, who could betray Beth? Some viewers believe the betrayal could come from within the ranch circle itself. Beth has always been fearless, but her biggest weakness has never been enemies, it has been the few people she actually allows herself to care about. If Episode 6 follows the emotional direction hinted at in Episode 5, Beth may find herself blindsided by someone she defended without hesitation. And if there's one thing longtime fans know, it's this: Beth doesn't forgive betrayal. That means Episode 6 could set up one of the most explosive confrontations of the season. A betrayal against Beth is never just personal, it usually sparks consequences that spread across the entire ranch. Relationships could be shattered, alliances could shift, and Rip may be forced into an impossible position between loyalty and survival. But here's where things get even more interesting. There are hints that Beth herself may unknowingly trigger the betrayal. Could her recent decisions have pushed someone too far? Did her aggressive strategy in Episode 5 create enemies much closer than she realizes? Or is someone deliberately earning her trust just to destroy her from the inside? Fans are already speculating that Episode May 6 include a shocking reveal near the ending, one that changes Beth's future completely and sets up a much darker path for the episodes ahead. If this leak turns out to be true, Beth may be heading toward the one thing she never prepares for: heartbreak disguised as loyalty. But what do you think? Who is most likely to betray Beth in Episode 6? And will she see it coming before it's too late? But what if Beth isn't the hunter this time? What if, for the very first time, she's the one being hunted? Because if Episode 6 truly follows the clues left behind in Episode 5, then Beth Dutton may already be standing in the middle of a trap. And the worst part is, she doesn't even realize the trap has already been set. And here's what makes this situation even more dangerous. Beth has spent years surviving betrayal. She knows how to smell lies. She knows how to read weakness. She knows when someone is pretending to be loyal while secretly planning their escape. That instinct is exactly what made her one of the most feared people around the ranch. But sometimes, strength becomes weakness. When you spend your whole life expecting attacks from enemies, you stop paying attention to the people standing closest to you. And that may be exactly what Episode 6 is building toward. Because fans noticed something strange in Episode 5. Beth looked calmer. Not soft. Not weak. But calmer. Almost like she believed she finally had control over the chaos surrounding her. And if there's one thing the Dutton world punishes faster than anything else, it's confidence. The moment someone believes they're finally safe, everything falls apart. Now imagine this. Beth wakes up expecting another difficult day at the ranch. The tension is already growing. Conversations feel shorter. People seem distracted. Nobody is saying anything directly, but something feels different. Rip notices it first. A strange silence. A strange energy. The kind of feeling that tells you something is wrong before anyone actually says the words out loud. But Beth ignores it. Why? Because Beth has bigger problems to worry about. Or at least, that's what she thinks. What she doesn't know is that somebody close to her may already be making moves behind her back. Secret phone calls. quiet meetings. Information being shared without her knowledge. And the scariest possibility? Someone feeding information directly to the people trying to destroy everything Beth is protecting. Now, here's where the theories become incredibly interesting. There are growing signs that episode 6 could introduce a betrayal disguised as concern. Meaning the person turning against Beth may not even believe they're betraying her. Think about that for a second. What if someone believes they are protecting Beth by hiding the truth? What if someone thinks Beth has become too reckless? Too emotional? Too dangerous? Because throughout episode 5, there were subtle hints that Beth's aggressive decisions were beginning to affect everyone around her. And when pressure builds inside the ranch, people start making impossible choices. Some choose loyalty. Others choose survival. And survival has always been dangerous in Beth's world. Now imagine a scene late in episode 6. Beth finally discovers something doesn't add up. A conversation she wasn't supposed to overhear. A document left where it shouldn't be. A text message. A name mentioned in secret. Suddenly, the pieces start connecting, and then comes the moment nobody saw coming. The realization. The person she trusted, may have been lying the entire time. Not for days. Not for weeks. But possibly from the very beginning. And if that happens, everything changes. Because Beth doesn't just react to betrayal. She destroys betrayal. The real question is whether Rip will stand beside her, or whether this betrayal pulls them into the biggest conflict of the season. Because there's another theory fans are starting to talk about. What if Rip already knows something? Think about it. Rip has always been loyal. Always protective. Always the one person Beth believed would never turn against her. But episode 6 could put Rip into an impossible situation. Imagine he learns something terrible. Something capable of breaking Beth completely. Does he tell her immediately? Or does he hide the truth to protect her? And what happens when Beth finds out he knew all along? Because sometimes betrayal isn't betrayal because of what someone did, sometimes it's betrayal because of what someone failed to say. And if episode 6 leans into emotional damage instead of physical danger, this could easily become one of the most heartbreaking storylines the show has ever done. Picture this moment. Beth is standing alone. Silent. No anger. No screaming. No sarcasm, just silence. And longtime fans know something terrifying, a quiet Beth is often more dangerous than an angry Beth. Because when Beth stops talking, she starts planning. And if somebody really betrays her in episode 6, revenge may already begin before the episode even ends. But revenge in the Dutton world never comes cheap. Every move creates consequences. Every war creates casualties. And Beth's next decision could accidentally put Rip directly in danger, and that's where things begin to spiral in a direction nobody expected. Because if Rip gets caught in the middle of Beth's revenge, then episode May 6th not just be about betrayal anymore. It could become about survival. And here's why. Beth Dutton has always been the kind of person who moves fast when she feels cornered. She doesn't wait for proof. She doesn't sit around hoping people explain themselves. If Beth believes somebody crossed the line, she acts first and asks questions later. But this time feels different. Because this betrayal might not come from an obvious enemy. It might come from someone who has been quietly standing beside her all along, someone who knows her weaknesses. Someone who understands exactly what hurts her the most. And suddenly, episode 5 starts looking completely different. Think back to those moments that seemed small at first. The strange pauses in conversations. The uneasy looks. The feeling that certain people weren't saying everything they wanted to say. At first, fans dismissed it as tension. But now, those scenes may have actually been warning signs. Tiny cracks forming beneath the surface. The kind of cracks that don't matter, until everything collapses. And what if Beth missed all of them? Because let's be honest for a second. Beth is brilliant when it comes to business battles. She can destroy rivals with one conversation. She can manipulate people before they even realize they've lost. But emotionally, that's where things become dangerous. The moment Beth actually starts trusting somebody, that's when she becomes vulnerable. And vulnerability has always cost her. Which brings us to one of the biggest theories surrounding episode 6. What if the betrayal isn't intentional? What if somebody close to Beth makes a decision they believe is helping the ranch, only for Beth to see it as unforgivable betrayal? Imagine this. A secret deal gets made behind Beth's back. Not because somebody hates her. Not because somebody wants revenge. But because they believe Beth is making everything worse. And honestly, that possibility feels terrifying. Because betrayal from enemies is easy to understand. But betrayal from people who think they're helping? That's personal. That's complicated. And for someone like Beth, complicated emotions usually end in destruction. Now picture a late-night confrontation. The ranch is quiet. Nobody else around. Just Beth and the person she finally realizes has been hiding the truth. No music. No distractions. Just tension. Beth was standing there, staring at someone she trusted. Trying to understand how everything changed. Trying to figure out when loyalty turned into deception. And then comes the question that changes everything. How long have you been lying to me? Silence. No answer. And somehow, that silence says everything. Because sometimes the truth hurts less than hesitation. And if that moment really happens in episode 6, fans may witness one of the coldest Beth scenes in years. Explosive anger. Not shouting. Something worse. Disappointment. The kind of disappointment that instantly kills trust forever. Now here's where Rip becomes extremely important. Because Rip knows Beth better than anyone. He understands what betrayal does to her. He understands how deeply she hides pain behind anger. So what happens if Rip sees Beth heading toward revenge before she even realizes what she's becoming? Does he stop her? Or does he stand beside her like he always has? Because there's a dangerous possibility nobody is talking about enough. What if Rip disagrees with Beth this time? What if Beth wants revenge, but Rip thinks she's going too far? That would completely change everything. For years, Beth and Rip have survived because no matter how messy things became, they stayed united. But betrayal changes people. Especially Beth. Especially when trust is involved. And if Rip hesitates, even for a second, Beth may see that hesitation as another betrayal. Think about how heartbreaking that would be. The woman who feels abandoned suddenly starts questioning the only person she still trusts. And just like that, the strongest relationship around the ranch begins to crack. But wait,